Okay, so $1 billion. That's the number we're talking about today.
It's a lot of money.
Salesforce is investing a cool billion in Singapore over the next 5 years, and it's all about AI.
AI specifically, their Agentforce platform.
Yeah, so today we're diving deep into this investment. Why Singapore? What's the impact going to be? And is this like a really smart global expansion move, or, is it maybe a little bit of a shift in priorities?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, for sure.
And we've got a whole bunch of sources here, news articles from NBC, Connecticut, AM, CNBC, CNA, and even a press release from the Singapore Economic Development Board. So
We've done our homework.
we've done our research right, and we're going to be talking about a lot of things. Singapore's digital transformation, obviously, Agentforce and its capabilities, this really interesting collaboration they have with Singapore Airlines, the AI research hub that they have in Singapore, data residency questions, workforce development, and then ultimately, what are the potential benefits and risks of this move?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here, so let's get into it.
Let's do it. So first off, the big question, why Singapore?
Yeah, well, Singapore has been making a pretty concerted effort to become like a major hub for AI innovation.
Right, and Jermaine Loy from the Singapore Economic Development Board actually said they want to be a vibrant hub for AI innovation. So Salesforce's investment seems to be really lining up with that vision.
Yeah, totally. And this isn't Salesforce's first rodeo in Singapore either. Their CEO, Mark Benioff, mentioned they've been there for 25 years.
Wow, 25 years, that's a long time.
And he highlighted that their research center in Singapore already has like dozens of top-tier AI engineers working there, so they've got a lot of expertise there already.
This is where it gets really fascinating for me, though, because Singapore has these demographic challenges, an aging population, and a declining birth rate. So how does this investment play into that?
Well, Salesforce is positioning Agentforce as a way to rapidly expand the workforce in key areas like services and the public sector. It's like a digital workforce coming in to support the existing one.
It's almost like they're trying to solve a real-world problem with this technology.
Yeah, and it's not just a Singapore problem. It's something that a lot of developed countries are facing. So what they do in Singapore could be like a model for other nations.
That's a really interesting point.
And you can't ignore the size of the global digital labor market. It's estimated to be worth something like $6 trillion US dollars.
That's huge. That's like the entire GDP of Japan.
Exactly. It just shows the massive potential that Salesforce is tapping into with Agentforce and this Singapore strategy.
And Benioff was very clear about Singapore being a key growth market. He even called it the hub of Southeast Asia. So this is about more than just Singapore itself, right? They're thinking regionally.
Definitely. And this investment also aligns with Singapore's National AI Strategy 2.0. So it's not like Salesforce is going rogue here. They're working within the framework of the nation's overall tech goals.
So it seems like a pretty strategic partnership.
Absolutely.
Right.
So now that we've got a handle on the why Singapore question, let's talk about Agentforce. What is this platform all about?
Yeah, what exactly can it do?
So Agentforce is an agent-based AI platform that can be used to build what they're calling a digital workforce. But it's not just about chatbots. These AI agents can think to decide, act, and complete tasks like booking appointments or processing requests.
So it's like having a team of AI assistants working for you.
Exactly. And each agent can be specialized to handle specific types of tasks.
That's so much more than just answering FAQs. It sounds like they're actually doing real work.
Right. And they just launched Agentforce 2.0, which they're describing as a platform for building a limitless workforce. It has improved reasoning capabilities and can access data much faster.
So they're constantly upgrading it. That's good to know.
And we're already seeing some big names using Agentforce companies like Accenture, IBM, Heathrow Airport, and even Singapore Airlines.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of Singapore Airlines, their collaboration with Salesforce seems like a big deal.
It is. They're integrating Agentforce and Einstein, which is Salesforce's AI for customer service and their data cloud platform, into their customer case management system.
What's the goal of all that?
The idea is to make customer service operations smoother and let human agents focus on more complex and personalized interactions.
So the AI handles the basic stuff, and the humans can focus on providing better service to customers. That makes a lot of sense.
And the partnership goes beyond just using the text forms. They're also planning to develop new AI solutions specifically for the airline industry at Salesforce's research hub in Singapore.
So they're working together to innovate.
Exactly, and that's what makes this hub so important. It's not just about deployment. It's a center for AI development.
Speaking of that research hub, it sounds like Singapore is more than just a place to do business for Salesforce. It's a place where they're pushing the boundaries of AI.
Absolutely. They set up their first overseas AI research hub in Singapore back in 2019,
Yeah.
and they've already made some pretty impressive breakthroughs like the BLI multimodal language vision model and the Moirai time series foundation model.
Those sound pretty complicated. Can you break those down for us?
So BLIP allows AI to understand both images and text together, so you can do things like smarter visual searches and content analysis.
Interesting.
And Moirai is really good at predicting trends from data that changes over time, which could be super useful for forecasting in all sorts of industries.
That sounds incredibly powerful.
They've also developed things like AI ops agents, which use AI to manage IT operations, and in-house code LLMs that help their developers write code more efficiently.
So they're really using AI to improve their own operations as well.
Yeah, and the fact that this hub has already produced over 100 research papers and patents shows how much serious innovation is happening there. It's a key driver of Salesforce's global AI advancements.
Now let's talk about data residency, because that's always a big issue when you're dealing with international data, especially sensitive data. What's Salesforce doing about that?
Yeah, they're expanding their services on Hyperforce in Singapore to provide local data residency for their data cloud Agentforce and unified marketing applications.
And when is that happening?
It's scheduled to be up and running next month.
Okay, so pretty soon. Why is local data residency so important, though?
Well, it allows businesses in Singapore, especially those in heavily regulated industries like government, finance, and telecoms, to use Salesforce's AI and data analytics while staying compliant with local data storage and processing rules.
So they don't have to worry about violating any regulations.
Exactly. And it makes Salesforce's offerings much more attractive to those businesses.
It's like they're trying to remove any barriers to adoption.
Right. And they first introduced Hyperforce in Singapore back in 2021. So this is a major expansion of that infrastructure.
It sounds like they're really committed to meeting the specific needs of the Singaporean market.
Absolutely. And it's not just about technology and infrastructure. They're also investing heavily in people. They're talking about building an Agentforce-ready workforce.
What does that entail?
They're revamping their Singapore office to include dedicated Agentforce spaces where people can get hands-on experience with the technology, but they're also putting a lot of effort into upskilling their partners and the wider tech community in Singapore.
And how are they doing that?
They're partnering with universities and polytechnics like Singapore Management University and the Institute of Technical Education and NGN Polytechnic to give students the CRM and AI skills they need.
So they're creating a pipeline of talent.
Exactly. And they're using their free online training platform, Trailhead, to support these initiatives.
So they're investing in the physical infrastructure, the technology, and the people. It's a very comprehensive approach.
It definitely seems that way.
Now, for our listeners out there, let's bring this back to you. This $1 billion investment, it's a lot of money. Is this primarily a smart move for Salesforce to expand globally into a really key region? Or could it signal a shift in focus, maybe even a shift of resources away from the U.S. market?
That's the million-dollar question, or rather the billion-dollar question.
Right. And it's something we need to think about carefully. We've got this huge investment in Singapore, but we also have to consider the impact on Salesforce's operations and customers here in the U.S.
Exactly. Will the AI innovations they're developing in Singapore benefit American customers directly, and will those benefits come quickly?
Or could there be a delay or even a difference in their innovation roadmap based on where they're focusing their resources?
It's all about resource allocation. Leveraging global talent and tapping into new markets is great, but could concentrating so much investment in one overseas location have any unintended consequences?
Could it impact the speed of innovation or the level of support they provide to their U.S. customers? Those are important questions.
Absolutely. So to sum up, Salesforce is making a big bet on Singapore. And it's a multifaceted bet. It's driven by Singapore's focus on AI, its demographics, its tech ecosystem, and its strategic location in Southeast Asia.
And this investment is all about Agentforce, their AI platform.
Right.
It includes this really interesting partnership with Singapore Airlines, and it leverages their existing AI research hub in Singapore.
Right, and the big question we're left with is this just smart global expansion, or is it a sign of something more, a potential shift in priorities that could have implications for Salesforce's U.S. operations and customers?
And on that note, here's something else to think about. Could this move by Salesforce signal a broader trend? Are we seeing the rise of global tech hubs outside of the traditional centers like Silicon Valley? And what could that mean for the future of technology and global business?
It's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, maybe take a look at some other big international tech investments and see if you can spot any similar patterns or motivations. It's a fascinating landscape out there.
It certainly is.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Salesforce's billion-dollar investment in Singapore. It's a complex story with a lot of moving parts, and we'll be keeping a close eye on how it all unfolds.
Until next time.